All right, what's going on? Here we are, another episode of Iron Sharpens Iron. Today, I'm with my man Eric, who is from good old Tennessee, and we're going to be digging into Eric's Forge Father journey up to this point, which I'm excited about. So, Eric, thank you, man, for taking the time and coming on today.
No problem.
Heck yeah, man. So, Eric, kind of just do a quick introduction of yourself. Like, what do you do out there in Tennessee? And what are the deeper details of Eric?
I work in computers, warehouses mostly. I also volunteer as a firefighter, first responder, search and rescue. That's basically it.
And what about, so you're a dad, you're married, how many kids you got?
I'm a dad. I got 2 daughters. I got about to be an old and a 7-month-old. And they keep me on the run pretty well. Between them and my wife and my work, that's about all I have time for.
Yeah, I know when you initially came in, that was like the big thing that you were struggling with most, is just when to fit in all this other stuff, right? So
That's right.
Let's talk about that. Let's talk about, I guess, for you, Eric, like what was the big thing that attracted you to what we're doing inside the Forge Father? Like, how did you find out about it? And I guess, what were you dealing with before you got started?
Well, I saw the articles on Facebook and looked at them for a couple of months. And I got to the point, I used to be a athlete in high school. And I got to the point where I just let my health go and gained over 60 pounds since high school. And my wife said I look like a 70-year-old man walking around, just how stiff I was and how out of shape I was. And my energy levels were zero. Always wanting to fall asleep about 4 o'clock in the afternoon.
Mm-hmm.
And I just wanted to make a change. It was time to make a change. And having my second daughter born, it was kind of a wake-up call.
Mm-hmm.
Then I'm not going to be around too much longer if I don't change something.
Yeah. Because how old are you right now, Eric?
I'm 35 years old.
35. So it's not a good thing when your wife is saying, hey, you look like a 50-year-old walking around, right? Yeah.
Yes, sir.
So we're 35, and you were actually, so you initially saw what I was doing in the Forge Father. I remember kind of going back and forth with you, and so it was a couple months before you actually stepped forward and did anything.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So
yeah,
with us being into the program now, shoot, it's been what, 6 weeks? 6 weeks have gone, well, 5 weeks, 5 weeks. So what are the results that we've seen up to this point, Eric?
The main is more energy, being consistent, working out, having the energy to work out.
Mm-hmm.
I used to be bad about sitting down in front of the TV when I got home. I don't do that as much anymore.
Yep.
I'm more up and about in the house doing stuff, or playing with the kids, or helping my wife do things. And haven't seen much weight loss yet. I'm sure that'll come.
Yep. So I know one of the things that we've been working on with you was the nutrition side of things.
Yes.
That was kind of besides just not making training a part of your daily routine beforehand, now we've done that. We've gotten consistent on that side. And then as far as the nutrition goes, how are we looking there? Like how have things changed for you nutritionally?
I realized that I've been doing nutrition all wrong. Apparently not eating enough. I've actually been doing good, hitting my numbers. I don't think I missed a day where I didn't hit the threshold of what my numbers have to be.
Yep.
My hunger's definitely went up.
It's interesting how that works, huh? Like before you weren't eating barely anything. Like off the top of my head, I'm just thinking of your numbers. I think you're taking in something like 50 or 60 grams of protein a day. I was like, holy cow, like we gotta change that up.
It wasn't much.
Yeah. And so now we're actually eating more. Your hunger is actually up. And so that's a really good sign. Mm-hmm. Telling us that your metabolism is actually starting to kick back on. So that's good, man. But yeah, what were your thoughts before starting the program in regards to nutrition? Like what were you doing diet wise?
I was trying to eat less, calorie counting, so to speak. Trying to eat healthier. Like, I guess, eating like eating my greens and stuff, trying to get as much of those in as I could, or I could stomach.
Mm-hmm.
All the diets and stuff that I've been part of have been a lot more restricted and a lot less
Yeah.
intake
Yeah.
than what we're doing now.
Yeah. Unfortunately, that's the big message that is being sent out there in the world, in society, especially like within the fitness realm. On the outside, guys think that it's got to be restrictive. I remember you mentioned broccoli, and I remember our initial call, Eric. Like I was like, "Do you like eating broccoli?" And you're like, "Not really." I was like, "Why are you eating it then?" Because I'm supposed to, right? It's like, nah, you don't. In fact, what's interesting about broccoli, I believe we talked about this too when you initially came on board, is broccoli for a lot of guys actually causes more problems than actually, benefits, right? And so number one, like broccoli, just eating broccoli, it's inconvenient a lot of times. Like you got to cook it, prepare it, and
Yep.
I'll tell you right now, because I used to be this guy. I used to carry around, Tupperware with like chicken and broccoli in it. You open that up, that broccoli just gives off a. I don't know if you've ever done that before. Did you ever do that before?
No, I avoided it at all costs as much as I could.
Broccoli, just if it sits in a container, even if it's just in the refrigerator, like you open it up and it's just like, it's like this horrid smell. But that's one. It's like inconvenient. Number two, it actually causes a lot of digestive issues for a lot of guys, and so it makes you bloated, and it just doesn't. You can do without it basically. You can eat clean, so to speak, without having to eat all these greens and stuff like that. So for you making the switch over, what are some of the big breakthroughs that you've had as far as nutrition goes up to this point, man?
I mean, I'm trying to time it where I'm eating my proteins and fats first. Like today, it's 2:10, and I haven't eaten anything yet today. And I find myself eating quite a bit at night.
Yep.
To the point that my wife is like, I don't know how you put it away, but I'm still so hungry. I eat a lot of pasta, protein shakes. Just been the main thing of finding sources of like pure carbs or pure fats or pure protein, and it's become like after I eat my lunch, it's become like a game of trying to figure out what I'm going to have for dinner and make sure the numbers match up before I make it.
Yep. It's funny, right before we got on this chat, I was connecting with another guy in the group who he's just now starting out. So he was kind of in that initial position that you were in. He's been tracking. Now he just got, specific targets for himself for macros. He's like, all right, I got this much left. Like, what am I supposed to eat for the rest of the day? And I'm like, that's the beauty of it is like, you can decide. Like, so now you start, kind of pre-tracking food in MyFitnessPal, and it really becomes a game of Tetris, but with food, right? And so it's like,
exactly.
Hey, if you want to eat this or that, put it into MyFitnessPal, see if it hits your numbers, and have it guilt-free. You know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, that's the most important thing for us, especially with you, Eric. Like, getting you consistent with hitting these numbers. What we've done is we've started to ramp up your metabolism, right? So we're eating more, we're building the metabolic capacity, and so we're basically getting ourselves to a point where now we'll be able to start to take food away. So we'll actually be able to get you into a legit diet. So we will start to see that weight loss, but we had to fix things first. And I remember we talked about that initially when you came on board. It was like your metabolism is basically broken, and so you're not going to lose any weight until we actually fix that problem first. And unfortunately, a lot of guys, they have that same mindset, and they just stay in that same mindset of they'll just continue to not eat anything, starve themselves, eat clean, and then wonder why they don't lose weight. And so it's like you have to go in the opposite direction, and you have to fix that stuff first before we even see any like real results in the end. And it's a process. It hasn't worked overnight, obviously. Like we're 5 weeks in now, and so now we're at a much better point to where we can put you in a much better position now. So beyond that, I know something that we've been working on with you is just the training, because you're on call basically for your job. So it's like, hey, you'll get called out anytime, so making time and making training a priority for you has become important as well. And so talk a little bit about the training side of things, man.
I've had to modify a lot of the trainings, the planks, for example, I can do them, but nowhere near to the time that the workout list. The single-legged wall sit, I think I made it like 3 seconds. There wasn't no way I could do that.
Yeah.
Not yet. So I just went to a regular wall sit.
Yep.
Pull-ups is another. 300 pounds is a lot to pull up.
Mm-hmm.
And I've actually gotten some assist bands to help with that, to
Yep.
hopefully build me up.
Yep.
it's just a lot of modification, but the good, I am moving
Yep.
and
That's the
getting
most important.
something out of it at least.
Mm-hmm. That's the most important thing.
Yeah.
Yep. Doesn't matter where you're at, you got to start somewhere, and then it's just about it's a stair-step approach, right? So it's like, hey, we're down here, we're trying to get up here. It's going to be a stair-step approach, like slow and steady progress is going to win the race versus, a lot of people, they want that progress right off the bat. They're not there. Oh, I can't do a pull-up yet. Okay, I'll just quit because it says I got to do pull-ups. So it's like, let's modify this. Let's get resourceful. How can we still get this done and still, get gains out of it, right? So you've done a great job of that, getting consistent in that regard. But beyond like the training and the nutrition for you, Eric, like what are some of the other big breakthroughs that you've taken away from this program up to this point, man?
The biggest thing has been energy. I've had a lot more energy than normal. Like I said, normally around this time afternoon, if I sit down, I'm falling asleep or dozing off.
Yeah.
I haven't had that in the last few weeks.
Mm-hmm.
I've had several people have made comments that I look thinner. I mean, I haven't lost anyway, but they said I look thinner and different. But
Yep.
I'd say that outside looking in a lot better than I can see. But
yeah,
and the support of the group has been very helpful, pushing you. And that's basically it.
Awesome, yeah. As far as like, so yeah, other people will see. It's interesting how that works. What's that?
I didn't say nothing.
Oh, I think you're right there. Yep, I'm here, man. You still there?
I didn't say nothing. I was
okay. I think it was internet connection. But basically what I was going to say is what's interesting about like the physical, like visual changes. And have you been snapping weekly pics?
No.
So that's a big thing. Like I would suggest starting to take pictures, right? Like every week, because we're not going to see the physical changes in the mirror ourselves because we see ourselves like every day. And so you're only seeing like tiny little changes. And so you actually don't notice them over the period of time because you've seen yourself there. Your perspective is constantly there, right? And so other people that don't see it for a while, they notice those changes, which is cool. And so that's why you always want to snap pictures, because a lot of times guys will completely sabotage themselves when they just look at the scale, right? Say no weight has come off on the scale, right? And that's currently what's going on right now, right? Does that mean that everything is not working? Does that mean that we're failing? Absolutely not, because a couple things are going on. Number one, our hunger is back, so we know we're fixing our metabolism somewhat. Number two, people have said you look thinner, so more than likely your body composition is changing. So we've probably lost weight and have added muscle back on. And so let me ask you this, man, like how are your clothes fitting?
The same. I haven't really noticed a difference in that.
So like in your jeans, nothing? Nothing. Interesting.
No.
Because typically what you'll see is if you're not losing weight, your body composition is going to change. So your body's going to be leaner. You're going to be losing inches. You'll notice it in your face. And again, you don't notice that, but other people will notice it. When you take pictures, that's where you can compare the big.
I think the biggest notice has been my upper body more than my lower body.
Yep.
But like my arms and stuff, my wife has made comments and my arms look like they're getting, I guess you could say leaner, I guess would be the word.
Cool.
But
awesome.
I mean, when it comes to the weight, I used to step on the scale every morning. I don't do that no more. I haven't been on the scale in probably 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Just to avoid that discouragement.
Yeah. But yeah, that's the thing is like the weight on the scale, it doesn't tell the story, right? And so a lot of times that's actually what derails guys is they get on the scale, they look at it, it hasn't changed at all. And so they're like, well, this isn't working. I guess I'll, try something else or, go back to what I was doing before. And the thing is, like if we look at where you were before, Eric, like when you came in, like your body was basically broken. It was run down. It was your metabolism was ruined, injuries, low back, all that different stuff was going on. And didn't you like you had a shoulder, something going on with your shoulder?
It's still, I'm going to get it fixed this afternoon. Clavicle pops out of place.
Yep. And so we had all these things going on with ourselves, and it's going to be a process to fix that, man. It's going to be a process to, number one, like the metabolism, it depends on who you are. So, sometimes guys really are able to flip that around right away and they'll start to see weight loss once they fix that metabolism. But for you, it's been a process to flip that around. And now that we got it a little bit higher, where we've actually started to eat more food, we'll be able to kind of go down the other side of that hill, so to speak. Because it's kind of a steady climb when you first start. You got to stay on the path. You got to stay on the journey in order to reap the rewards that are, you know, on the other side. You know what I mean? And so you've done a great job with that up to this point. So I'm excited to see, you know, what's next for you, man. But besides that, like what, anything else that you want to leave off with here, man, before we close this out?
I mean, one of the biggest things that I've been trying to work on is my flexibility as well. That's another part that hinders me. And like I think I told you, the first week of workouts, the battle prep, the lunges where you step down and bring your arm down. First time I did it, I cramped up and almost fell over.
Yeah.
So I changed that up a little bit and started doing my stretches before I ever do the battle prep.
Yeah.
And that's helped a lot. But
good,
long
man.
way to go still.
Yep. We've taken the first initial steps, and that's the only thing is just got to keep stepping forward, man. So keep at it, brother.